Joshua chapter 3. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, When ye see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests the Levites bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place, and go after it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Come not near unto it, that ye may know the way by which ye must go, for ye have not passed this way heretofore. And Joshua said unto the people, Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When ye are come to the brink of the water of Jordan, ye shall stand still in Jordan. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, Come hither and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, Hereby ye shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passeth over before you into Jordan. Now therefore take ye 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, out of every tribe a man. And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand up an heap. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the Lord, and as they that bear the ark were come into Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon an heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zaratan, and those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed, and were cut off. And the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan. We are here seeing that they're going to cross over, and in fact to do cross over Jordan River. And it's very interesting that there's going to be a space of about 3,000 feet between the Ark of the Covenant, being borne by the Levites, and the main group of the children of Israel. And as well, we hear that God is going to start to magnify Joshua in the eyes of the people the way he magnified Moses. Now, you need to understand that the Jordan River had many symbolic representations, but not to the children of Israel. For the people who lived in the land, the Canaanites, the fact that the Jordan River was in flood meant they were safe. Now, the Jordan River is not a wide river. There are very, very, very few places where it's much wider than 125 feet. It's just not a big, huge river. Desert rivers don't tend to be big, but this river starts at Mount Hermon, which has an altitude of 9,000 feet with the snows of Mount Hermon, and there are springs at the bottom towards the bottom of the mountain. And from there it goes to 1,300 feet below sea level to the Dead Sea. Distance about 200 miles, tops, as the river flows. A lot less in terms of straight line flight. Because in the latter part, just before the Dead Sea, it just twists and turns all over the place. But here, it was in flood, and you would not have been able to walk into that river and stand. The Israelis have built a dam on the south end of the Sea of Galilee to control that flooding now, and 90% of the water that would otherwise go down that river is now used for irrigation and drinking water and whatever else they use it for. So that doesn't happen anymore. But in Joshua's day, you could not have stood in that water at full flood. And I can imagine the Levites, usually, one thing I should say, usually these rivers have a fairly steep edge. It's not like a beach. They cut a fairly steep edge. And so when you step off of it, even in normal time, you're dropping down several feet. And if it's in flood stage, you could easily take one step out and go down to your neck or deeper. And so when the Levites got to the edge, I can imagine that the first two of those Levites who took their steps into the River Jordan could have been excused for being a little bit concerned. I don't know whether they were or not. I wasn't there. But seeing how it was flooding, they might have had the faith to say, okay, this is the Ark of the Covenant of God. Nothing's going to happen to it. And they knew they were carrying it. And they could have just stepped right out, and maybe that's exactly what happened. But, you know, if it had been me, I'd have been a little worried. I probably would have wished I was the guys at the back of the Ark, so I could see what happened to the guys at the front first. I think a lot of us might like to be that way. But they got in there, and then they stood there. And the waters that were upstream piled up as a great heap, and the waters that were downstream just ran away toward the Dead Sea, and there was nothing more coming. It didn't go around them, didn't get thinner, just built up as a big heap. And all of them crossed on dry ground. They picked up 12 memorial stones, which they set up on the other side. Standing stones is what they're called these days. And they passed over. Now, Moses had the Red Sea, which was probably bigger than what Joshua had. Joshua had the biggest thing that was there, and that was the Jordan River. And the Lord said, today I will begin to magnify you. Joshua had a lot of things happen that should have magnified him in the eyes of all of them and all of us. Pretty magnificent guy. We'll find out a little more as the chapters come through.